A year ago, the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against Putin, and Baerbock celebrated with great enthusiasm, popping the champagne corks. Next week, Putin will travel to Mongolia. The country is a member of the International Criminal Court and would have to arrest Putin immediately. However, that will not happen. And this indeed clearly shows how truly ridiculous the International Criminal Court is. Baerbock was therefore too quick to celebrate and has completely made a fool of herself. Let's take a look at this humiliation of Baerbock. Here we go. Anna-Lena Baerbock is not only our beloved foreign minister, but she is also indeed our hero when it comes to justice, morality, and saving the world. She is essentially the German equivalent of Superman. She fights for the weak and against the evil of the whole world, and in doing so, she needs no helpers and no army. She takes on Russia's President Putin all by herself. Legendary is her speech before the UN committee, when she truly single-handedly made it clear that we are all indeed at war with Russia. Thank you, Anna-Lena. What would we do now without you? Well, probably definitely saving a whole lot of taxpayer money on haircuts and makeup. But that is a completely different topic. Back to Putin and his arrest warrant. About approximately a year ago, the Tagesschau reported that Baerbock wants to punish Putin for original crimes. The arrest warrant against Putin is indeed an important sign. The International Criminal Court issued the arrest warrant against Putin in March due to alleged war crimes in Ukraine. They are allegedly responsible for the abduction of Ukrainian children and minors from occupied territories to Russia. In this context, Moscow refers to it as evacuation. Baerbock praised that the arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court against Putin issued in March 2022 was an important sign. And because this arrest warrant is such an important symbol for Anna-Lena Baerbock, she is naturally very personally committed to it wherever she appears, and apparently indeed wants to ensure that Putin is arrested herself. That an arrest of Putin would be seen in Russia as an official declaration of war is, indeed, of course, conveniently ignored. Nevertheless, this international arrest warrant was issued by the International Criminal Court, and there are a total of 124 countries around the world that are members. Here on the map, you can see the members in this list. All members of the International Criminal Court are involved. These countries would be legally obligated to arrest Putin, should he enter their territory. Members include all the Western countries. Well, except for the USA, which has withdrawn its signature, because they themselves have a lot of dirt on their hands and have committed numerous wars, and they would likely be responsible for many cases at the International Criminal Court, but that is another topic altogether. It is important to mention the large green area north of China. This is Mongolia. And Mongolia is also a member of the International Criminal Court and would have to arrest Putin if he travels to Mongolia. And that is exactly what is happening next week. ProSieben wrote, "Is Putin threatened with arrest?" The Kremlin chief travels to Mongolia despite the arrest warrant. Kremlin chief Putin will travel next week for the first time since the start of the war to a country that recognizes the arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court against him. Is he threatened with arrest in Mongolia? Well, when I read this news, I could vividly imagine our Foreign Minister Baerbock definitely dancing in her rose-colored ivory tower and absolutely popping open the next bottle of champagne. Finally, Putin is indeed arrested and he must justify all of his actions. Finally, our Anna-Lena wins for once, after she has otherwise been constantly facing defeats. Of course, this is completely unjustified. The unfortunate thing is that Baerbock apparently celebrated too soon, and Mongolia will not unfortunately arrest Vladimir Putin. Indeed. The arrest warrant seemingly means nothing, in fact, to the government of Mongolia. Russia's neighbor recognizes the International Criminal Court and would actually have to arrest the Kremlin chief during his stay on Tuesday, September 3rd, in Ulato. Moscow remains calm about this and sees no danger for Putin due to the friendly relationship between the two countries, as Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov explains. This is Putin's first trip since the beginning of the war against Ukraine to a country that is a member of the court in The Hague. So far, Putin has refrained from visiting countries where he faces the risk of arrest and has opted to be represented. Peskov answers the question of whether the arrest warrant was a topic during the travel preparations. Of course. All aspects of the visit were meticulously prepared according to the Russian news agency Interfax. And no, there are no concerns. Putin is traveling to Mongolia at the invitation of the Mongolian President Unshnagin Shirizik to expand cooperation with the neighboring country. Mongolia strives for a balanced relationship with its powerful neighbors China and Russia, as well as with the West. Since Mongolia is also dependent on Russia, it is considered unlikely that the country would jeopardize its relationship by arresting Putin. Yes, my dear viewers, you can indeed clearly see how truly and very isolated Putin really is in the whole world. Indeed, extremely isolated. I mean, the whole West always claims that it is so isolated in the world that individual countries are now completely ignoring the arrest warrant and indeed prefer to focus on economic cooperation with Putin. In fact, so we can clearly see what this international arrest warrant is absolutely worth. Not at all. If even the member countries do not behave according to this International Criminal Court, then you might as well throw the whole thing in the trash. And not only that, but this ignoring of the arrest warrant also proves the fact that the entire West has completely made a fool of itself. And foremost, Annalena Baerbock. Mongolia is giving our Foreign Minister Baerbock the political middle finger with this action. And once again, Baerbock is embarrassing herself to the bone. She most likely goes immediately straight to her trusted and experienced hairdresser to vent her frustration. But hey, maybe we will experience a really big surprise next week. And perhaps, just perhaps, Mongolia will indeed arrest Putin. I mean, they will definitely have to prepare for severe attacks from Russia, but I'm sure they can handle it, in my opinion. And then Putin will be transferred to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. And there, Baerbock will be allowed to visit him and take a few selfies with him. So, let's be surprised. Next week is going to be really exciting.